Many Shades of Pink and Black Health. Many Shades of Pink and Black Health, where good health equals long life. Welcome to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on KBLKradio.com. Sponsored by Many Shades of Pink. I'm your host, Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer survivor and advocate.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Susanna Flalo. And today we have the pleasure of our special guest, Ms. Patricia Gibson, a realtor. And today the topic is how passion can turn into success. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Yes.
I am honored to be with you guys.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah. So we're going to just dive right into it, and you can tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from, where were you raised, that sort of thing, just so the audience gets an idea of who our guest is.
So basically just tell us, about yourself and your family.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll start with there.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm Patricia Gibson, and I am a divapreneur.
Uh-oh.
And I would take that one on. It was given to me. I took it, and I'm running with it. Okay. So, and I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm first generation American. My family is from Kenya. So I get the luxury of having the best of both worlds close at hand. And what else would you like to know? Of course, I have
Are you married? Have children?
Yeah, I am married. No children yet. Hoping for that in the near future.
Okay, great.
So yes, I've been married for going on nine years next month.
Okay.
Yeah, been the same man for 15 years.
Fabulous.
You have any siblings?
Yes, I have. It's a couple of us. Look, every time I have to count.
Is that me?
It's that big. We're a pretty big family. I would say I have 3 sisters and 2 brothers.
Oh, it's not that many.
Yeah.
So where do you fall in that?
Yeah.
I guess you could say I'm in the middle because we're like a blended family. So I'm like in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fabulous. But you don't have that middle child syndrome, right?
No, I have more of the firstborn syndrome.
Also, you're the boss.
Right. Yeah, I'm my mom's first, but otherwise everybody else is blended. And, and then, of course, those that followed after me with my mom. So, so I'm in the middle.
So when did you become a realtor, and what was your deciding factor of becoming, that career choice?
Okay. Originally, I started back in 2012, and at the time, the market was trying to, I guess, kind of sort of still in the struggle a bit, and my husband was in the military, and we were moving around, and I just got tired of trying to fill out applications and try to get jobs, and we were not even anywhere for like more than 2 years. So I said, I need something that's more portable, and of course, just watching HGTV. That channel gets everybody in trouble with this thing. And so I was watching it, and I asked my husband about it. He had actually went to college for architecture, CAD designing, and wound up getting his home inspection certification. So it was kind of like in my face a little bit, but I never really indulged in it because I was studying exercise science at the time. And so I was like, well, let me just give it a try. If nothing else the worst thing that could happen is I'm going to learn something about real estate. So, and I just went ahead and dove into it. And then once I got into it and realized the significance in home ownership, and I realized, oh my gosh, how much I don't know about owning a home, but I always wanted to own property. And then realizing how much it has as how much of a role it plays in politics. And that was something that started to pique my interest at that time, especially in the Black community. So I was just like, man, there's a lot to learn. And so I kind of just got my hands in, took a little break when I got to San Diego, and then got back into it last year.
So you know that when the real estate market is good, the economy is good.
Right.
So when the real estate market is shaky, the economy is shaky.
Right. Right. Yeah. That is very true.
Because I was going to ask you, when you got your real estate license, where did you get your real estate license at? Was it here in California first, or?
No, I originally got it in New Jersey. I was a referral agent. And so I started there, and my job was just to refer clients to agents. And then, of course, there were some unhappy clients, and I was like, you know what, I want to get my own experience, and that way I know what to expect to help set the expectations. And then, so when we relocated to Georgia, that's when I dove in and got into the sales part of actually becoming a realtor and being out there working with the clients hands-on. And always kept on to still do referrals, and that's a major part of my business. But I got in and got involved, served on the board of realtors on a local level, and that's where I really got to learn a lot about real estate.
Yeah. So then, with real estate, so obviously sales is a big key factor in terms of a skill set. What other skills do you feel are necessary to be a successful realtor?
The willingness to learn. You gotta have the willingness to learn. And you have to have a people personality. That's key, because you're getting into people's personal lives. When we're getting into this industry, where people are exposing their life to us.
Yes.
So they have to be able to trust you with their life, their information, their finances, their decision. We're helping people make one of the biggest decisions in their life. So you have to be a people person, understanding, compassionate, and educated.
Right.
So I have a question. So when you came to San Diego, because everyone always say this, because I actually literally watch a coworker. How was the test for you? Because I watched a coworker take the test 4 times and fail.
The first time I took it twice.
Right.
Because the first time I went in, no, it wasn't hard. I just didn't know. It's so many questions. It was like 150 questions. So when I studied, I was just like, I don't even know what is going to be on this test. And of course, it's a lot of information. So my mindset first was, I said, I'm going to take it again, but I want to go and know, what do I need to focus? And I didn't do well, and I didn't even study for it. I was just like, finished the class, went and took it. I was like, okay, I literally, I think I missed it by a few points. And then I went back and just passed it.
Well, what the thing of it is that what's on a test, it does not even have really to do what you have to do day to day in real estate.
No.
So it's completely the opposite. It doesn't even it doesn't even apply. And so that's where people are thrown off. And that's what I told her. I said, you need to learn how to take the test.
That's it.
And see me, my dad, he was real smart, and he flunked it the first time. And I went to a class, so I had an instructor to teach me how to take the test.
That's it.
So when I went the first time, I passed it because I knew how and what to expect, because it's just really, it's crazy, and so many people cannot pass California real estate test.
Yeah, and actually, California real estate is easy.
Well,
it's easy. I've done it when New Jersey is tough. We have math. You guys don't even have math in there. And so we have math.
Well, I think that it's multiple choice.
Yeah.
And but it's tricky. It's very, very tricky.
The key thing is understanding the question, like you said. It's studying, knowing how to take the test. They repeat the questions over and over, but they ask it in different ways. And if you don't catch on that they're asking this, you could be answering the same question with different answers, and that will throw you off. And that's what I realized, that I was like, why do I feel like I've answered this already? And I kept asking myself that a couple of times, and I'm like, okay, all right, they're asking these questions over and over again. So I knew that, okay, there's a focal point. So I went back and studied right on the area that I didn't do well on, which is something I didn't even, other states, that wasn't applied to.
Right.
So I went back and I was like, okay, got it, good, and moving on. And of course, I don't remember anything that was on that test, because you don't really utilize that information other than really just knowing basic laws and stuff.
So is that an exam that you have to do over and over, or once you get in, you get certified, then that's it?
Yeah, once you get in, it varies state to state. So it really, what happens is most of the time, generally, you get your license. You have to catch up with your CEs, or you have to do your continuing education. And every state has different regulations. Some want it every 2 years, yearly. California, I believe, is 4 years, and then you just renew your license. Okay. So as long as you're doing it within a guideline, and they kind of give you a grace, and that's just the thing that we all have to pay attention to, is that grace period after we've expired, there's like usually a grace period, as long as they don't change the rules and laws on us. And you have that time to go ahead and get caught up, and then you're good to go.
So really, it's just getting your continuing education units along with a fee, and that's
Yes.
all you need. You don't have to retake the exam.
Correct.
Ever again.
But
No.
you have to in those CEs, you have to take a test.
Yeah, so are there workshops or these things are online?
You can be either or.
Either or.
Yeah.
Yeah, online or I can't do online.
Yeah.
I'm just not online. I'm not.
You need to
Sit in the classroom
and
sit in
listen
the
to
class for those 4 hours and call it life.
I mean, because I just online. I'm just like.
I find everything else. I'm like, let me go look at Facebook. What's going on? A cup of coffee.
Distracted too easily. That's what
Way
it
too
is.
distracted.
More discipline when you're doing an online class.
Right.
So question: what makes you stand out among any other realtor?
I'm very innovative and creative, and I love collaborating on different levels. So currently, like right now, a lot of people are just going for the most basic, simple, like getting an open house and then just throwing the signs up. And I'm like, I think bigger, and I'm like, I want to get the right client for this home. When I walk in a home, how does this home speak to me? And especially because since I've worked with, in my career, a lot of buyers that I've gotten, like it's almost like I walk in a house and I already know what kind of buyers, how would this work well to present to sell it for the listing, for the seller. And then on top of that, I like to collaborate with people from different industries, because you never know. Like, I mean, can be the doctor that might be like, hey, I want another investment property, or I want I'm looking to upgrade, or I want to downsize. I look to financial advisors. Hey, do you have someone that's got financially in trouble? Don't let the bank take their home. Contact me if they're struggling. Mm-hmm. Let's get that situated. So I try to think beyond the box. Out of all the networking and contacts that I do and professionals that I've been introduced to, mm-hmm. how can we work together when it comes to real estate transaction in the benefit of the buyer or the seller?
Yeah. So how difficult is it for someone to buy their first home? Is it a challenge, or what types of things do they need to have in place? Because I know it's a long process.
Yeah.
And can be a scary process. So what types of things should they have in place before they even start looking to buy a new home, a first home?
I would say definitely debt to income.
Yeah.
Right now, that is like one of the biggest things that is hurting, especially I'd say in my generation. With student loans, not understanding, we graduated with that, not really knowing what we were getting. Mm-hmm. We're that generation that got caught up in all the mess with Sally Mae.
Right.
And so it's really understanding that if you're married, understanding the state guidelines and laws, and understanding how debt to income affiliates that. With people moving, like here on the West Coast, mostly in Washington, California, I think Texas, and a couple of states where they have like the common property law. So when stuff like that, now your debts are joint. So when you have only one income, the question I would say a couple will want to say is, all right, do we want to wait until we get two incomes so that our debt to income ratio is much better, or how can we get rid of some things? I recommend sitting down with a team aboard, having a CPA, a financial planner, and a realtor and a lender who will all work together, not one that's trying to sell you over the other. You want to make sure you have them all, making sure that your finances are all your ducks are in a row, your credit is straight, so that by the time you're with the realtor and you're moving forward, you're good.
And you can still have you can have good credit, but your debt is so high.
Yeah.
That no one want to touch you.
Yeah. Right.
So that is one of the things that is this generation with and they don't understand the loans. I listen to so many of the young people that just want to go to school and getting loan, and I have to say, hold on, wait a minute, you need to take a break. Take a break, And speaking of that,
we have a couple seconds before our break, but
that's what they're doing, and just taking out loans and not understanding the concept. And I had to tell my a younger cousin, you need to take a break, and you need to get a job, and you need to pay some of that that student loan down.
Right. So that's a good. That's a good pause to stop there and take a break.
and we'll pick that up because it's very, very important.
Yeah. So you're listening to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health Radio program on kblkradio.com, and I think it's probably a good time now to take a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.
I'm a breast cancer survivor.
We are honoring our heroes.
I'm here today because of Susan G. Coleman's free mammogram.
We are pledging to save lives.
We're passionate about bringing the services out to the community.
We are providing free mammograms. We are providing hope.
We are more than pink.
Made possible by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Welcome back to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on KBOKradio.com, sponsored by Many Shades of Pink. I'm your host, Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer survivor and advocate.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Susanna Flalo. And we've been speaking with our guest today, Patricia Gibson, and she's a realtor, and we've been diving into that. And our topic today is how passion can turn into success. So before the break, we were speaking a little bit about the process of buying your first home, preparing to buy your first home.
Right.
And you mentioned about getting, everyone on the team together. The realtor, the CPA, the financial advisor, and somebody else.
A lender.
And a lender.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that they can let you know that the different aspects as to what you need to correct or get in order, so that when you do fill out that application, that you will not be turned down.
Yeah.
So you want to make yourself the best you can possibly be in order before you put yourself on paper.
Yep.
So with that, let's dive a little bit into the credit. Obviously, we spoke about student loans, and if you're trying to get educated, back in the day they had all kinds of loans that were smaller interest, 3%, things like that, and now you have to do a lot of bank loans, and some of the school loans are even high. That you find that the millennials and some of the other Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, all of them that they're loaded down with student loans and 150,000, 200,000, that
But
type
the
of thing.
thing of it is I don't understand the formula. Whereas, you could have a $20,000, say for instance you buy a $20,000 car, and you can have that paid off in like 4 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Student loan, you still paying on it. You barely
25 years.
Yeah,
25
I
years.
mean you just it's crazy.
Yeah, but when you're accumulating loans over probably college or university years, 4 to 5 or 6 years, depending on how long it took you to go to college, and then another 4 to 6 years of professional school, depending on what you're going for. So you're talking about anywhere from 8 to 12 years of education that you've been paying for and it's been accruing interest all along.
Okay,
so if you borrow $150,000, you're probably paying back $300,000.
Yeah.
And that takes a long time at $150
it does, but
a month.
I still say that there is the formula, it's rigged.
Well, of course it's rigged. I mean, there should
like they
be.
say, Jimmy rigged.
Yeah, I mean, of
it's
course
Jimmy
it's
rigged on these children, of today. I feel really bad, and I basically looked at that early on when my daughter was going to college, and I was like, she can't be in debt like that,
Yeah.
I cannot allow her to get in debt like that. So we took out less loans. And by her doing well, she ended up getting an academic, scholarship, which it paid for half of it. My dad ended up paying for half of it, and so on and so forth. So she did have like 2 loans, but the 2 loans that she got, she is having a cow.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you, she's the exception to the rule. Most people that are black and brown take out full loans for years, and we don't have the luxury of having parents that can pay it off or grandparents that can pay it off or even pay down on it. So most people have to sign, as I tell them, sign your name on the dotted line, invest in your future, and then you just have to pay it back later. And when you get into some money, pay down more than what's asked. So, don't ever pay the minimum payment. Pay twice that amount so you can start working on the principle of it. And if for me it was a gazillion dollars, but it took me 25 years to pay off my loans. But the point is I could. And then when I had the opportunity to get some funding, pay it down in lump sum so that you could get rid of the higher interest rates. So, let's have you talk a little bit about when you find a buyer that's ready to buy, but they've got some structure in their financial package that doesn't look right. You're there advising them, I'm sure, along with the team, that you need to pay down a few of these loans that are 9% and 7%. Pay those down, and hold on to the 3% loans, because they still want you to show up that you have a payment history. That you can make payments. The one thing about developing credit is you don't want to just go and buy a TV for $1,000. You want to go and get it and then pay monthly, even though you have the money to pay it off. develop some credit, because no credit is worse than having bad credit.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
I look
explain
at
that.
I take a look at their lifestyle. Like in my consultations, I get to know what their lifestyle is. Where are you living right now? Are you currently paying any rent? Rent is, or a lot of times, like some people may live with family and they don't have rental history. That could be a big problem if there are other aspects of your life that's not going well. So if you don't have rental history and your credit is not the best, then you're kind of stuck. So we have to create some kind of financial portfolio that shows the bankers they're financially responsible. Because at the end of the day, that's all they want to know is, can you pay us back plus the interest we want to get? So I try to gauge a little bit of that. And then also importantly, making sure they're connected with the lenders that are going to work with them and help them get where they're going to. So I interview lenders very detailed, just to kind of figure out what their process is. Some lenders like to work with people who are ready to go right now, got the 700 credit score, got $50,000 or $100,000 sitting in the bank and ready to go and close on a house tomorrow if they find it. And then you have some who are very interested in want to know about the down payment assistance, know how to get you in the home, and willing to figure out the workarounds. There's some that really pay attention so they can get you in there, and then now you can start working on getting your life together after that. Now that you have the home, you know you have a responsibility to keep it, or in case another recession. Because I tell my clients, it's not that you don't know if we're going to have a recession. We will. It's just when. It has history. It's been repeating itself. But when that happens, you want to make sure you're able to keep your home, and that's where we should be more knowledgeable today than before. Every time it happens, we should be more knowledgeable. So I like to ask those kind of questions when having student loans. I do ask that. I did have a couple clients that had stuff like that going on, which kind of took us a lot more time to dig in, figure out, dealing with the student loan companies and the banks, and trying to remodify some of the payment plans so that we can get them to close on the home, because they were in escrow. I mean, everything. So we take a look at those things. After seeing that and seeing now what's going on with that, I pay extra attention to that now. That's like a big question I ask up front, because then that way I know, okay, we might not jump into looking at a house next week. We may need to get some things in order, and then we'll go ahead and look. Don't worry, there's always going to be a home. No matter how short inventory is, somebody's moving and somebody's selling.
Right.
So that's never an issue. It's just, let's get it in order, so that the more your stuff is in order, the more options you have. And that's what it is. When we don't have the things in order and we're limited, then we're stuck, and that costs more than taking the time to take care of things.
And it's very important that you work with a lender that's willing and have that understanding of how to work the system to get that person approved, and is willing to take the time. And I can say that that's who we were. We basically, if a person wasn't ready, quite ready, we work with them and their realtor to get them ready. And because a lot of people just not ready. They think that, hey, I got a little, I got decent credit, but then when you get down to the meat and potatoes, they're not ready.
Not only that, you touched on something which reminds me that I need to tell the audience that you do not have a choice in not paying back your student loans.
No.
That's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Right.
I mean, I've known other physicians that didn't pay back their loans. They can't buy a house. They can't do anything. They may have the cash to buy it, but they can't. You don't get to shrug your responsibility. You sign your name on the dotted line to say, I will pay you back because I'm investing in my education. You don't get to skirt that away and not pay it, because it will follow you and haunt you for life when you're trying to buy a home or buy a car or buy anything. So when you get in debt, pay back your debts. Even if you can't make the payment, negotiate. Call the people that you owe money and negotiate and say, I can pay a little less for the next 6 months till I, do whatever. Or if you can be in a loan forbearance if you're not in a job at the time. But don't skirt your responsibilities, because especially student loans, that seems to be almost the worst one.
Yeah,
you cannot.
That will take your whole life away.
Yeah, that will.
That will just shut down even get an apartment. It can hurt you.
Yes.
Another thing, and then is I'm glad you said that, because also people have, if you're co-signing with other people on debts, that's another thing we're finding too, where people are co-signing and they're like, well, that was that, I co-signed a car for Wendy, but she didn't make her payment, so I'm not paying it. And then they're like letting that go. You're like, no,
that's on your credit too.
That's your too. That's your credit. I told you, don't co-sign it. Even if it's, I hate to say it, but even if it's family, if they're not responsible, you have to take care of you at the end of the day.
Right.
Because without you can't take care of nobody else.
Exactly.
What do they tell you when you get on a plane? Save yourself yourself first before you try to save the baby or anybody else. Because what is a dead person going to do for the other? Nothing.
Right.
So that's literally what we're doing with our lives when we decide that we're going to co-sign each other, someone else, not knowing how financially responsible they can be. And if you decide to use, again, sign that line, just like you said earlier, you have to know if you're saying, hey, if this person doesn't do their part, I'm going to take that responsibility. And it's worth it to go ahead and clean that up, take care of it. And then you can take that person to small claims court and deal with that, get an attorney and talk to them about your legal parameters on going around that. But never let your finances drop down, because that's your life, that's your home, and never let no one else take that from you.
And on top of that, when you do co-sign, that still counts against your credit.
It
I
does.
co-signed for my nephew for a few student loans, and my
have
score was
to.
really high, and then I saw his score getting higher because I was building his credit. I saw his score getting higher than mine. I'm like, wait a minute.
You allow him to piggyback off of you.
Yeah, which is good, but I'm like, all of a sudden
right.
mine went down a few points because all of a sudden now I have more debt, right?
Right,
'Cause
so-
that's still a debt for me, and thank God he's paid it off. Thank you, Adam.
Right.
But otherwise, I'm responsible. But then as soon as that's paid off, my score goes back up. But
Right.
and I wanted to touch a little bit on scores because people don't realize. I mean, the top is for a long time I thought it was 800, but it's 850, right?
It can go up pretty high, right?
you can actually-
No, I thought I saw what is a top score? Is it like 850 or something?
It's beyond
It's,
850.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you're looking at FICO scores, and you need to explain that to the audience what a FICO score is, but then what is considered a decent, what is bottom line they won't look at, and then what is considered really premium that you're less of a risk?
Okay. So I would say, like, if you're at 640, you're decent. So they're most lenders, that's where they really ideally want to start with. Some will try to get you a little higher. If they're really good, they'll try to get you a little higher so that if it can help with your interest rate. That's really what you're trying to do, is get higher. If you can be in the 700s, that's the best. That's really the ideal location to, like, even want to even start. But if you're 640, that's decent. Feel comfortable to go and start talking to lenders and start exploring options.
I wouldn't.
And
I mean, that's where I wouldn't deal with people that was in the 640s.
What, less than 700?
It's less than 700.
Yeah, it can be hard.
It can be hard.
Yeah.
700 and above, that's what I prefer to start. But she is one that like to take them by the hand and walk them through it. Which there's nothing wrong with that, because there's a whole lot of people that are in those sixes, and they are potential. They can be potential home buyers. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. But sometimes when you spend all the time as a realtor, you spend all that time with them, and then they just fall off, and we don't get paid for none of that.
Right.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say like you're running.
Right.
At 640, that's starting to check out your options.
Right.
Because what happens is when you're in the 640s, like lenders look at it, some people literally have like maybe just $3,000 in debt or less than $5,000, and they have the money. So they just don't know what to do to get that score up. So that's where it's a good, healthy place to start talking to lenders, and they will look at it and say, okay, if we get this taken care of, boom, you'll be here by this point, and then we're good to go. And at that time, they can also share with you, like, well, if you want to go buy now, this is what you're looking at monthly payment wise. And I tell my buyers, tell the lender how much you want to spend monthly, because they'll be realistic on what they'll tell you where you're at that credit score. Then after that, if you're in the 700s and above, you're in a much healthier place. So now you really have opened up a lot more options. And then, but if you have some that will say, oh, I work with 580, I work with 600, that's danger zone for me.
That is.
Because that's like, okay, you're going to get their hopes up. But those are the ones when, if they're not on 10 times, they're probably going to fall out of escrow. Because if they're not very careful, like, it doesn't take much for that by the time because they'll make a simple mistake, like using the credit card when they probably shouldn't have, or pulling out a personal loan for something, and think that the lender's not going to find out. As soon as they run that final credit to close on that home, then next thing you know, they're done. They can't, and now they're set
all
back.
that time.
Right. And
Don't get paid.
Hey, right. So yeah, I just always tell them when they come to me, I ask them, do you know what it is? And I'm like, no, let's pull it up for free with Credit Karma. If they haven't looked at it, let's pull it up. Let's see where they're at. And if they're in a good space, okay, I'm like, let's look at your debts. And then I'm like, okay, well, here, let's go talk with a specialist that can help you organize, because I did stay out of that to get into the financial part of that aspect. I don't want to get sued later, but I do get them say, okay, let's start working with somebody who can be able to help you get to a place. So I would know, like, okay, in 3 to 6 months they would be ready. So they're not off my radar, but I just keep them accountable in that time. I check in monthly. How things going? Are you doing what you need to do? And checking in with the lenders and as they progress. Meanwhile, in the forefront are the people who are ready right now.
So, so the best thing that we need to encourage our audience to do is, number one, get your credit report.
Yes.
Look at it, see what's on there. Sometimes there's errors on there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so you need to correct that. Sometimes you find out at that point that someone's probably used your credit or your social security number in, somewhere. So you need to make sure that those debts that are listed on there are actually yours, and make sure it's correct. And then it comes with a score, and that's where your FICO score is too, so that you know where you land and how much work you have to do to clean that up and get to hopefully about a 700 to be able to negotiate. I mean, be able to be in the ring to talk about an interest, right? Especially with like cars and all kinds of other things. When you're trying to buy other things other than a house, you get to have a rate instead of a 12% rate. You can have a 7% rate on your loan, depending on your score. And people don't understand that.
Yeah.
So they don't. They need to realize that the credit, their bad credit that they may have, is they're dragging it along like a ball and chain throughout their entire life until they clean it up. And with that, I want Sis to kind of talk about what it takes to clean up your credit.
Well, basically, it's all about, it's a science to it, and it's about consistency and wearing them down.
So break that down into English for the audience. What do they have to do in a stepwise process?
So, consistency, number one, once you order your credit report, you basically pick out those, so it may be wrong. Someone could have been using your credit. Or you may have some old stuff that should have came off and still that's on there.
So does it drop off after X number of years?
Well, it's supposed to, but a lot of times it can still be.
But what's
on
the time
there.
frame? Do you
Supposed
guys
to be
know?
7 years.
7 years, okay.
7
so if they
years.
see that, then they can go and address that.
Right, and so they can get that taken off. And a lot of people like to do it online. I like to do it the old-fashioned way. I like to write the letter to, send it to each credit bureau, because to me it's just so much more effective. When I wanted to bump up my
FICO score
for anybody that I was working with, then I would call. I'm one of the ones that get on the phone and like, look, this is wrong, I want to take it off, And also as a realtor, you know that when you in a process and you need to bump up somebody's score, and when you dispute something, they actually have to take that off, and then in that window of time, you have the banks to run that credit.
So they have to take it off while it's in dispute, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
And if you want to bump up their score right in there, you're like, dang, if they had this, they can have this interest rate. So I get on there and dispute it and say, I need for you need to run that credit right now. I need to get, we need to lock this in right now. And that's how I end up bumping it. However, overall, I like to do the process. Like I'm working with my little younger cousin, and so I have the letters, and I'm teaching her how to, each letter, for each, thing that she wants to remove, and how to address that. So you basically have to send them a letter and basically explaining why you feel that this needs to come off, or it's either not yours, or you are a victim of identity theft. And I am a victim of identity theft. So it's crazy because stuff will pop up on my credit, and I've been a victim in probably like for 10 years. It's been over 10 years, but it still will pop up, different things will pop up. So, you still have to be, do your due diligence, make sure that, everybody needs to always have a credit monitor on their reports. Anything happen, each month, anything.
Right.
And they give you that notification that, either your credit increase or you have a new account. So that's really, really important for them to have.
So for them to start correcting,
For them to,
addressing that issues on their credit report.
Right. And then once they do the letters, and they may not get removed the first time.
Mm-hmm.
They may not get removed the second time. And that's why I said it's consistency.
Okay. So you have to keep writing
and
these.
you keep on writing it, and you wear them down, because they have to prove it. It's their job. But guess what? They're not in the business to say, I'm just going to remove it. They want to see you work.
Okay. And the key thing she says is doing your due diligence.
Yes.
A lot of times what clients don't realize, they expect us to do everything for them. But there's some things we cannot do. This is where you have to take your responsibility and be able to take care of those things on your own, because of the fact that, one, with identity theft, a lot of people, you don't want so many people having access to your stuff. You want to try to keep some things contained properly. All right, let me go ahead and take care of this, and I'll come back to you when I'm ready, when I've gotten this situated. And I think that that's one of the biggest problems we have today too, is that people got, I don't know where, how, or what caused it, but people start to think that we take care of everything.
Exactly.
We don't. Realtors, we show you the house, we make sure we get your contract, the deal that you want, and we make sure you get in that house. Lenders, they get the money, they look at your stuff, see how much money they can give you, and then they make sure you can use that and cash out and buy the home. So a lot of times people, when we step out of our bounds a little bit to help someone, sometimes people take that a little too far and think, oh, we're supposed to do all of that. No, that's not, because there's now we're crossing legal boundaries.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you're practicing something that you're not
As expert.
yeah, exactly. And so, from what I'm hearing from the two of you guys as audience, the most important thing to do is not get bad credit.
Exactly.
You want to try to keep it, because it's a long process. So, if you're early in your stages now, when you have your debt, pay it off no matter how small, the monthly payments are, pay them off. If you can't handle those monthly payments, negotiate with the person you owe the money and say, can we cut it down to something reasonable, $50 instead of $100, and then when you do get money, start paying down more than what the monthly payment is. Because I'll tell you this, on credit cards, if you just pay your minimum monthly, you'll have that for the rest of your life.
Yes.
What you have to do is start paying down on the principal of it. So, most of the time all you're paying is the interest.
Right.
So try to keep your credit clean, and if not, try to get someone to help you, figure out what you should do to correct the problem, and then it's your job to correct your your
own credit.
Yeah.
It's not the job of the realtors, and a lot of them have that. I'm gonna say it's a myth, and I'm debunking it. Okay.
Thank you, Wendy. And you know what I was saying, and I took my husband was on deployment. I had took some the credit classes, how to $1 Million Sailor courses. I took advantage of that year, and I was shocked at how people did not come to the credit repair class and the $1 Million Sailor class. And I'm like, do these people not realize that you don't get a lot of places where you get access to this kind of information?
Right.
So I saw it in our booklet of classes you can take. I said, let me go in that class, and the home buying workshop. But everybody's in the home buying workshop.
But you're not in the credit.
The
but
credit
you need
class.
it.
That's what you need.
Yeah.
But the key tip I want to share from everybody out there is that one of the things that they did share is that when you're paying down, call in and pay down on the principal.
Yes.
That's the key thing. Call in. You can't do that online. Like if you're transferring funds from your checking to your credit card, it's not going to work. You want to call into the banks. Hey, I want to put this extra lump sum on the principal balance.
Yes.
Because the interest is off of your principal. So if the lower the principal, the lower your payment is going to be. And that's where you want to do, taking your tax refunds. And I think we as African Americans need to know that too, because sometimes we get those refunds and we're like blowing it all kinds of stuff. Most time people are going to go buy cars. Usually I think that's when car salesmen have their best checks.
They everywhere. I mean, they buying cars, clothes. The malls is making money. Everybody making money.
except for the housing. Exactly. We wait till everybody's going out of school.
Right.
Obviously, that's, to me, when people get money like that and they spend it on those things, and to me what it says is they're not serious about getting a home.
No.
Because if they were, they'd be saving every dime. They'd stop all their Starbucks runs at $7 a coffee. At the end of the week, you'd have $35, and then you just, whatever it is, you cut corners, you cut down on your cable bill, you do whatever you need to do to save for that down payment and things like that. Or you save and pay down some of those debts that you have. If you're serious about getting a home, then you have to be disciplined in every single part of your life.
Absolutely.
And if you get funds back, you should be putting that aside. So, I mean, the people... it's very obvious the people that are successful and the people that aren't.
Right.
And you can have the same lump sum of money that you're dealing with, or
Yep.
have two people in the same job that's making the same amount of money, and someone's successful because they're using their money properly.
Yes.
To get further along, and these people are spending it before they even get it in their hands.
Right.
So, you know, depending on who you are, you'll either get a house or you'll never get a house, depending
Right.
on how you handle
Right.
money.
And you know
Yeah.
what? The thing of it is I once had a client. This man made so much money, but guess what? I told him, I said, you are no different than someone making a minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you blow. He was making like $25,000 to $50,000 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and just he didn't have any like assets. He only had everything he owned. He had a high debt.
Mm.
You know, and I'm like, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to work with you no more.
That's
You don't
reckless.
listen.
Yeah.
That's reckless.
They're not taking. It's important
Yeah.
to take advantage. Like with the Urban League, the Young Professionals, we just did a tax event earlier this week on Tuesday, and we were just talking about the new tax bill, and we had CPAs and financial planner come in and
Awesome.
talk about like things that we need to know. Again, the class was limited, but then people are going to wonder somebody asked a really good question. What makes people rich? I wonder how to be a rich person, and they were like, you'd be surprised that they're different. It's a different situation. It's just like what you said. It's how they put their money together. And the same thing you said, Wendy, where you're having assets versus liabilities.
Yes.
And having that basic education a lot of people didn't have. I was fortunate that when my father made me start with accounting when I went to college. And so I was the idiot that changed it later on. But I feel blessed because I got the best of both worlds. But in that, I took accounting in high school and college. And I'll never forget assets versus liabilities, learning that. And so when I came back into real estate, it brought back those memories. And I had to, myself was headed in the wrong path. But real estate has helped me redirect my finances, redirect what's going on, where do I want to put my money. Because I'm okay. I can live limited now, and I'm fine. But my goal is when I retire, I want to retire. I don't want to be 65 or turn 80 and have to wind up back at Walmart being a greeter because I need to pay groceries. You know, if I work at Walmart as a greeter, it's because I just want to meet people.
Right,
I have money, but I just feel like seeing some faces and blessing somebody's day.
Right.
We want to be like sis here, retire early, looking good.
Okay, all right.
That's because I was sensible with my money. I'm still driving a 14-year-old car.
Yep.
I don't buy things if I don't need them.
Yeah, right.
You know, I don't do name brands, anything. I'm not trying to make anyone else rich. I put clothes on my back. I have a roof over my head, food in my mouth. And so I'm not about being pompous and arrogant and showing what I have. I could have, you know, if I wanted to, I guess a Rolls Royce, but why do I need?
Right.
My 14-year-old car runs just as well. I promise you.
That's
And
what
I
I
say,
said.
if I'm going to
Yeah.
buy that, first of all, I need to be able to afford a driver because I'm not driving a Rolls Royce. I'm riding in the back seat. So if I can buy that, it has to come with the driver. And I can't afford a driver, and I'm not getting it.
And the thing about it is I could every 2 years get a new car, but then you always have a payment. I've been without a payment for I don't know how
can't
long,
do it.
8 years or 9 years.
Yeah,
so
I can't do
the
it.
point is pay off your car. If you're gonna buy a new car, which depreciates immediately, then pay it off and then have the luxury of not having a $500, $600, $700, $800 payment a month.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we need to learn how to pay ourselves first.
We do.
Okay. It's all about saving.
It
I don't
is.
care if it's $25 a check. You need to pay yourself first. Make sure you have, and make sure your expenses aren't like your rent and your mortgage is more than 33% of what you earn in a month. Okay, if you only make $2,000, you in an apartment for $1,800, you're not gonna make it.
Exactly.
Okay, so make sure that you have your percentages right. My understanding is it should be about 33%.
You want
of
30
what
or
you're
below.
30% or below on what you're paying on what keeps the roof over your head.
Yeah.
You know, so keep that in mind as we just dive into all this. I know we have just a few minutes, believe it or not. That clock looks
I
wrong.
know.
That was wrong. Okay.
So we're going to take just a few minutes because we want to stop at about 5 minutes and talk a little bit about what we're doing in the community. But I also know that you're a Mary Kay consultant, and I'm
Absolutely.
curious, when did you start that? What was it? Someone that sparked your interest to get into Mary Kay?
I started that around the same time I got my license, a couple months after I originally started my license. So back in 2013. And I actually wore Mary Kay products since I was in high school. My aunt used to sell it, and she would just send me stuff, and I used to use it. I met, at the time, was the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Georgia, where I lived, and I was just, she gave me a card. I was like, oh, I need some Velocity perfume. And so she, took care of me as a customer. And it was kind of funny because I always wanted to be a little model. And she sent me a text like, hey, could you come model for me? And I was like, oh, me? Yeah. And I was like, let's go. Yeah. And I read it and I was like, oh, gosh, she got me, right? But at the same time, I was like, okay, I'm a realtor. I want to make sure I'm presentable at all times. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, to me, the benefit was a business decision for me. It was like, great, I can get my beauty products for half off because I need money for real estate, costs money, and I can't afford to go Mac and everything. If I can't write this on a tax return right now, I can't do it. And that's how I still think today. If it's not a tax write-off, I gotta think twice about it.
Right.
So that's how I wound up getting into it. But then I started experimenting with more of the products and just really liked it. And then people were just complimenting me all the time. And next thing I'm sharing, I was like, why not try to make a little change? And then a little change turned into, oh, I'm doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then it was just the empowerment and learning about who Mary Kay was and what she stood for.
Right.
My aunt had passed away from breast cancer a year ago. And, just knowing that she gives back to the community for research for cancers affecting women, that was very passionate for me. Because when my aunt had breast cancer the first time around, it was a hit. And it took a hit in our family. It was I saw the emotional change. The self-esteem level was different. And so what I started realizing is when I worked with women with Mary Kay, there were women who did not have high self-esteem. They had, you could tell they had it, but something happened and they lost it.
Yeah.
And so it started to change me and my reasoning, and it just became something like, finding the beauty inside and using the product just to let people see on the outside, but it really comes from the inside. Right. And that's what it does. So before you wind up really changing lives, you wind up getting your life changed. And then, first. Yeah. And that's how it is. So that's how I got involved. And I'm looking forward to explode. I kind of took a little backseat when I got back into real estate, trying to rebalance everything. But now this spring I'll be running and exploding with excellence on it.
All right.
Yeah. So you're a consultant now, or are you going to strive for directorship?
I am. This year I'm going for it.
So you're going to go for just having, just doing it all.
Yeah, doing it all. Yeah.
And both real estate and Mary Kay are sales. So did you have any training in sales background, or did you just kind of stumble into it and got a gift?
I stumbled into it and got a gift. I got, I'm a talker, so I got, pretty much, apparently I can convince people to do things and have a way with words. So I just took that and I just asked God to, just no matter what, make sure, I don't want to be a salesperson that sells something that of not good value to people. So I really just lean on God to guide me with the right words, the right way, and it's just really in all my businesses, just getting to know my clients first, because then I can be able to make sure that this is a fitting product for them so they're happy. Because if they're happy, I know God will take care of the rest.
And not only that, but, just having that overall integrity so that your client can trust you.
Yeah.
So I think that they see that in you, because I'm a woman of just the spirit and working in the real estate. If you don't, they can kind of feel you.
Oh yeah.
If you're not, if you're not the right type of person, oh, they feel it. So you have to just make sure that your level of integrity and you're going to lead them. You have to basically take their needs over your commission, but a lot of people take the commission over what the person needs.
They're in that for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
So I know, and we don't have a whole lot of time, but do you come from a family of entrepreneurs?
You know what? My mom told me that we do have some on her side, and then my grandfather used to have a little small like a little grocery store / market in the village in Kenya. So there have been some in there that we're starting to learn about now.
Yeah.
So
and your sister, I think, is trying to do something.
Yeah, digital media. Yeah, that's what she went to school for, and so she's starting to get out there and do her own thing with it now.
Okay, she's following in your footsteps.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into these announcements. Our first announcement is the Hornets and Friends second annual Cancer and Diabetes Awareness event, and that's Saturday, February the 10th from 11 to 3 at Lincoln High School. Shirley Weber will be the keynote speaker, and our very own Dr. Susan Alfalo will be speaking on the Heart Healthy, as February is Heart Awareness Month. I'll be speaking about breast cancer, So you guys just come on out and support your local high school and community. And, you know, it's just a whole lot of things. There's several things that's going to be going on. You know, they're going to be doing the blood pressure and the diabetes screening. They're going to be having the Lincoln's Circle of Hope ceremony, and that's what we'll be participating in. So make sure that you come on out February 10th from 11 to 3, Lincoln High School, and that is 4777 Imperial Avenue, San Diego, and that zip code is 92113.
Okay, and our next announcement is actually our monthly community outreach event, which is on the third Wednesday of every month. Our next event is February 21st, and the address is obviously Big Lots parking lot on Federal and Euclid, and I believe that's 1655 Euclid Avenue. And so basically it's just a one-stop shopping for your health and your other needs. We have several vendors that are going to be out there, including Kaiser, Coleman, free mammograms, state-of-the-art 3D mammograms, blood pressure, diabetes screening, vaccines, hepatitis A and flu vaccines, hepatitis C and HIV testing, all kinds of other things, food distribution, actually it's produce, fresh produce distribution, dental screening, and various other things. So come out. This is all free to the community, so please come out and take advantage of this opportunity. Once again, the next event is February 21st, and think about it every third Wednesday at Big Lots.
And our next event, come and join Susan G. Coleman Circle of Promise, the free fashion show and breast health luncheon, February 24th, and that is from 10:30 to 2. And that is at the AMN Healthcare, and that's 12400 High Bluff Drive, San Diego, 92130. And just want to say that this is a very, very unique fashion show because we're honoring the breast cancer survivors. So the survivors is going to be wearing the fashion. So you guys have to come on out. We have a whole lot of things lined up. We have great designers, great entertainers, the harpist Maria Antoinette and Ken Turner, our very own, my dear sis. She will actually be doing the presentation, and I'll be debunking the myths, and Deborah Gibson Portier will be doing the fitness and health, and our MC is Stevie Flowers. And that is it for our announcements.
So what I wanted to do is take the opportunity to thank you, Patricia, for coming on the show today. Thank you for sharing all the experiences and the wealth of knowledge regarding, number one, how to get prepared to buy your first home, but just your experience in terms of what got you into real estate and Mary Kay. And if there's any parting words that you want to share with the audience, feel free to do that now.
Oh, thank you. Well, I just want to say thank you, ladies, so much. Like I said, it's an honor to be, with you ladies, successful women and entrepreneurs. And for all the guests, I just say, don't be scared, don't be hesitated. Contact me at CoutureHomesRealty.com, or if you have a realtor already, don't be afraid to just reach out to someone just to see where you are and get started, just to start working on it. Because if you start today, you're a day closer than if you wait too late.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Thanks again for being here. We might have to bring you back because I don't think we touched in on enough on the real estate piece, so we'll definitely do that.
Okay, so you've been listening to the Many Shades of Pink and Black Health radio program on KBOKradio.com, sponsored by Many Shades of Pink. I'm your host, Wendy Sherrill, breast cancer survivor and advocate.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Susanna Flalo, and it's been a pleasure to have Patricia Gibson here with us as a realtor and Mary Kay consultant, and also a divapreneur.
Yes,
that's a new term
yes.
I'm gonna have to start using. And how we spoke about how passion can turn into success. So thank you once again for being here. And be sure to tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. And for more information on breast cancer,
actually go to www.colemansandiego.org.
Okay. Thank you and have a great weekend.
All right.